Hey guys, it's Quadri, and today's video will be about my tips on getting good grades in high school. So school has been back in for a little while now, and a lot of people have already gotten their report cards, such as me. And I just happened to notice that my report card looks bomb as fuck. And so, I wasn't sure what I would make my first YouTube video on, and I saw my report card. I was like, there we go. I can just make a tips video on how I keep up these grades, because right now my GPA is 3.8 and it's pretty damn good. So I'm just gonna help you guys and give you some tips, and we'll go from there. Tip number 1, pay attention to when teachers say, this will be on the test. When teachers say this, they're not lying to you. This is going to be on the test. That means it's something you definitely should study. And when you study that, you'll already have at least some of the tests already figured out beforehand. Believe them and make sure you get that written down. My second tip is to get a planner. And I don't mean one of those little apps that you download and try to put information in and then you forget about it days later. I mean an actual physical planner that you can use to, track your day. When you use a planner, you're able to keep up with all your assignments, your homeworks, club activities. It just helps you keep track of what you need to turn in and what days you might have tests. And knowing what you need ahead of time is always a good thing. So that means you won't be that one student who comes in class that one day and it's like, oh my god, we had a test today? Yeah, no, duh, we had a test today. We've been having a test today for 2 weeks now. Don't be that student. That student probably sucks and has terrible grades. My third tip is to use the fucking internet. Oh my god. Do you know how many apps, websites have everything you need? So I'm going to go into depth with just my favorite app that I've been using for math. It's called Photomath. And basically what Photomath allows you to do is take pictures of the math problem. And when you take a picture of the math problem, Photomath will run it through this database or whatever. And it will give you a step-by-step on how to solve the problem and get the answer. So Photomath is bomb as fuck. I'm telling you, use it. It'll save your life on these math problems. My fourth tip is to just study better. Study better means instead of studying first what you do know, study what you don't know first, because that's what you really need to hammer into your head. Also, study between commercial breaks. When you're watching TV and you're getting lost in the show and you're not taking care of your business, which is maybe studying or doing your homework, how about when the commercial break hits, mute the TV and just study? Just for those 2, 3, 4 minutes that commercial is running, do that, and I promise you, you'll absorb a lot of the information while still being entertained. So, I mean, it's easy as that. My fifth tip is to use SparkNotes and Slader. SparkNotes basically is, I'm sure you might have heard of it already. It's basically it has a bunch of English books that your teacher might have you read in class. But what SparkNotes has is character analysis, plots, themes. It has summaries. It has all the good stuff that you might need. It'll help you basically answer a lot of questions that your teacher might have for a certain character or a developing theme and all this type of stuff. SparkNotes is the key. And especially if you're reading Romeo and Juliet or Julius Caesar, it'll give you direct translation of the old English that Shakespeare used, and it'll put it in modern day English. It'll be easier to understand, so that means you can breeze through it like you're reading a normal book. Also, Slader. Slader is a freaking lifesaver. Okay, so the purpose of Slader is basically it has a whole catalog of textbooks for math classes. It ranges from algebra to statistics, pre-algebra, all that good stuff. And basically, Slader, it has all the textbooks lined up. And when you click on the textbook, it gives you all the problems that are in the textbook. And also gives you step-by-step solved answers for each question by people who come and visit the website. And these answers are step-by-step. You have each and every, they use all the systems that you learn in the textbook too. So it's not just an answer that your teacher is going to be like, how did you get this? And it's not the way she taught it or something. It's directly how the book is taught it. And you'll get the answers and you'll be able to write down, and no fuss. But I'll say this, don't use Slader just to get the answers. In fact, just use Slader if you're having trouble on it, on a certain problem or something. Basically, you can get the answer right, but you can also see how the problem was gotten. That means on the next problem that might be similar to the one you just did, you can use the way that Slader did it, and it'll give you an example, and you can just use that to solve the problems instead of, just copying all the answers down. And I feel like that's the best way to understand what you're doing. So that means when next time you have a homework assignment or a test or an assessment, you already know how to do it because you've been given examples step by step, and there you go. Slader. My sixth tip is to make your teacher like you. Why would you want your teacher to like you? Well, they're more likely to bump up a grade that's, say, borderline, like if you have a 79 or 89. When you have a 79 and your teacher likes you and she gives you an extra point, you have a B. You went from a C to a B. That's a whole letter grade that you got to by 1 point. And that's all it takes. Also, and as an added bonus, your teacher might be more likely to write a recommendation letter for you for a job you might be interested in or a club, and that's always a good thing. So get your teacher to like you and the rest of your year will be so much easier, I promise. My seventh tip is to get a reliable study buddy. When you have a reliable study buddy, you not only have someone to help you with quizzes and assessments, you have someone to just help teach you with something you might not have understood too much in class. You also have someone who you can get notes from when you're out of class and vice versa. Having study buddies is obviously a mutually beneficial relationship, but it's also very important. And not only that, but having a study buddy someone who will motivate you to get your work finished and all that is amazing. Like, a study buddy is very vital to getting a good grade. They come handy. They really do. My eighth tip is to use Google Scholar. Google Scholar is basically something where you can search up anything and you can get a lot of different sources and references for that specific thing. And Google Scholar is especially useful for projects when you need sources to citations and stuff like that. Or it'll search across books, articles, encyclopedias. Google Scholar is top notch. Like, my teacher suggested it to me for our science fair and I used it and it was great. So Google Scholar, it will not let you down. My ninth tip is to do extra credit. Now, when you hear extra credit, you might think, well, my grade's already good. Okay, no, so even if you do already have a good grade, extra credit is for those times when maybe you didn't do so hot on this quiz or test, or maybe you missed a few assignments. What extra credit does, it'll just cushion the blow from these things that you might not have did so well on or might be missing. And extra credit, instead of going from like a 98 to like a 89, you might be at a 91 because extra credit cushioned the blow. And don't wait till the last minute. Do extra credit as it comes. It'll help you in the long run. My 10th tip is to use Quizlet. Quizlet has been recommended to me from all my teachers. Like, they do it in every class. It's like, use Quizlet, use Quizlet, use Quizlet. And why? Because Quizlet is bomb as hell. There's been many times when I've had questions for something like in Spanish or history or information and technology, and I'll search it up and I'll be able to find the whole Quizlet pages with all the terms and the definitions and just different stuff for my particular subject, and it'll help you. Like, Quizlet has like just stuff like from students just like you who might have thought, this might be useful for someone. Even teachers make Quizlets for their students. So Quizlet is like a rich website full of a lot of good information that'll help you study and get a better grade, of course. And my last tip is so simple that like it should have been the first one, but I had to save this because it is the best tip of all. And that is to take good notes. And I don't just mean scribble what the teacher says, especially not word for word. You should definitely color code your notes. When you color code your notes, it's easier to retain information when you have it associated with certain colors, and it also just makes the actual process of taking notes just a little bit something extra. It's not as boring. You feel like you're doing something with your time and with your notes. So color coding your notes is not just great for memorization, but it just makes taking notes a bit more fun. You know what I'm saying? Alright, so those are my tips. I hope you guys enjoy. And I really hope you guys use these tips because I promise you, I've used all of them myself. I've used every single thing I have mentioned to you, and my grades have been, like, my grades are good. Like, there's no other way to say it. My grades are great. They're the bomb.com. Like, not trying to brag, but I'm really proud of what I have done. And I hope you guys will be able to use these and feel the same way I do about my grades. So please like, comment, subscribe, all those YouTube things. Share this with someone who might be struggling. You know, you'll never know what this could do for someone. So thank you guys for watching. I'll see you next time. Hope you guys stick around, and peace.